Let the one with two shoes sell one and buy a sword, and the one who has two trousers should sell one and buy a sword, because now it is time for revolution, and this revolution is no longer on streets. This revolution is not on Facebook. This revolution is in the mind, because if you are not in charge of your mind, your body will be just but a tool that your oppressor will use to enslave you and your people. If you are not in control of your mind, your body will be just an instrument of your own oppression. Steve Bantobiko said that the most potent weapon in the minds of the oppressor is in the hands of the oppressor is the mind of the oppressed. Peace and power, blessing and light to all African people from wherever you find yourself. We greet you from the African Continental Unity Party in this weekly discussion that we have every week to discuss about the ACUP, discuss about Africa, and to discuss about this revolution and how we are going to implement it and how we are going to succeed with it. So please begin by supporting us by sharing the video and liking it. My name is Kabbalah. I'm a member of ACUP in Communication Department. Today I will just briefly share with you, because we have received a lot of questions. Many people don't understand the vision of the African Continental Unity Party. So I just want to take few of your minutes to discuss with you what is the vision for ACUP, what is the vision over which we have built this movement, and that can help you to understand where we are standing and how we are going to get this done. So before anything, please share the video and like it to obviously help us. This might be one of the ways in which you can also contribute to this revolutionary agenda. So basically, the vision of the African Continental Unity Party is to re-establish Africa as a global power base. That is how we define the vision of ACUP. To re-establish Africa as a global power base. To be more academically correct, we may say that our vision as African people within the ACUP is to become the global power base. Our vision is to get the power that will make us the global, the global center of the center of global affairs, to be more precise. That's the vision of the African Continental Unity Party. So this, to just give you a kind of a perspective, is not something new. However, maybe the strategy that we are using is new, but the vision of uniting Africa has never been something new since Marcus Garvey, since Kwame Nkrumah, since all the Pan-Africanists that we know in the history. And it's got near to be finalized or to be materialized in 1963 at Addis Ababa, conference where African heads of state came together and discussed how we are going to handle Africa post-colonialism. And the enemy of Africa was not absent at that event. He infiltrated. He had his group of people championed by Houphouët-Boigny, the president of Côte d'Ivoire, who eventually destroyed the dream of many African people, starting from the Emperor El Selassie, Kwame Nkrumah, all the people who were at the conference at that moment. Anyway, coming back to the African Continental Unity Party, we have the vision to become the global power base. That is the vision that we have. But why exactly? Because power is at the core of every activity in life today or in the world today. Everything that we do, we need power in order to do it successfully. Power is at the center of the world, paradigm. If you don't have the power, you're going to be subject of other people. If you have the power, you're going to dictate your own reality and that of your people. You see, the challenge of today is that many African people or many so-called Pan-Africanists are just reactionary activists. You see, when you are a reactionary activist, you have to sit down and wait for somebody to do something bad to you so that you can react, so that you can march, so that you can protest, so that you can do everything that we do when something bad happened to Africa. And that we call that a reactionary revolution. And that is not a proper revolution that can change Africa or that can liberate and emancipate Africa as we all dream for and hope for. You see, when you are reacting after somebody else has acted, the person that acts controls your life because he's the one who puts you in motion when he acts and you have to react. Therefore, you are not in charge of your life, but the person that you are reacting to is the one who actually controls your life. Should I maybe repeat that again for better understanding? Every time you react after somebody else has acted, then that person controls your life because he controls your actions, he controls your thinking, he controls your thought patterns, and therefore he puts you in motion and he controls your life. So a true revolutionary shouldn't be reactionary revolution, but it should be either a proactive revolution whereby people sit down, think about where they want to go with their lives, what they want to achieve, and begin to plan and implement without necessarily having to face the real danger of the time. So power. Power is the essence of life. If you don't have power, you cannot right now stand and focus on this video to listen to me speaking to you. You need to have the power in your phone for you to get connected to Facebook and listen to the video or to listen to my message. You need to have the power within yourself to actually pay attention to what is being spoken in this video. So power is the essence of life. And I was just saying about reactionary revolution is because we today have become people who are reacting and fighting to end racism, and we have become to believe that we have begun to believe that our problem in life is that the world think that we are inferior because we are black people. Therefore, the world is dominating us because we are maybe inferior. But the truth of the matter is that the world is dominating us as African people because not because we are inferior, but simply because we are powerless people, or we are a powerless group of people on the face of the earth, on the face of earth. You see, when you study the history of Africa, you understand from the works of Dr. John Henry Clarke, you will discover that when Europeans found us or discovered us for the first time, they were worshiping us. You see, the first time they came in touch with us as African people, they worshipped us. So, and you have to also realize that there were more than one emperor in Roman Empire, one black emperor, more than one black emperor actually in Roman Empire. So we were the people that were worshipped by other people. We were the rulers of the world. So what has really happened for that, so that we can get to the point where we are today, is subjects of other people, authority, hegemony, and domination. It's not because we have changed. Nothing has ever changed. We are still black people who were ruling Spain. We are still the black people who were ruling Egypt. We are still that black people who were ruling, Roman Empire. So the reason today is that we have become powerless people. We have lost our historic initiative, and as a result, we have become a powerless group of people. And that is why we are being dominated. Every time when you become a powerless entity in face of people who have more power, you will be always subject to those people who have power more than you and who have power over you. That's the reason why we are suffering today about racism. Racism is not because we are inferior. Racism is not because we don't have proper mindset. Racism is not because we don't have the capacity to build something of significance, importance. In fact, we are the builders of civilization, and we have given civilization to the world. So the reason why we are suffering today from white supremacy or from racism is because we have lost our historical initiative, and therefore we have become powerless people. And every time we become powerless people in face of the people who are well organized and people who are powerful, we will find ourselves always in a state of domination, in which we are being dominated by other people. So you must realize that the world paradigm is shifting today. Yesterday we were under the Western domination, which is European domination, basically. And today we are getting progressively into a new world order that is being dominated by China. So you can cry, or we can cry about European oppression, European domination, European racism. But if we don't build ourselves to regain our power and to regain our historical initiative as a people who brought civilization to the world, we will tomorrow find ourselves again under Chinese domination, Chinese supremacy, and Chinese racism. And after Chinese era, there might be another era, which is the return of Arab era, whereby we find ourselves again dominated and oppressed by Arab people. And after that, it might be Bangladeshi or anybody who think globally, who has a global vision, right, and organize himself to dominate the world. He will always have a domination and prominence over people who are disorganized and who are weak, as we are today, African people. So you see, in nutshell, the point here is we are suffering today about racism, about white supremacy, about underdevelopment in Africa, about the collapse of our institutions, about everything that we have today is because of our powerlessness. It's because we are a powerless people wherever we find ourselves on the face of the earth as black people. That's why we are dominated. And domination, every time people dominate you, domination will always result in oppression. Whether that domination is ordained by God or ordained by devil or ordained by whatsoever, a domination will always result in the oppression. Even if it's a parental domination whereby the father dominates the kids, the kid will always suffer the oppression. And in reality, the parents are not supposed to dominate their kid, because a person who dominates you will never want you to become better than himself. However, every parent wishes and wants his kid to become better than himself. Therefore, the parents are not supposed to dominate their kids. So every domination, whether it's godly, divine, or whatever way you contextualize it, domination will always give birth to oppression. And the people in the condition of oppression, they cannot emancipate, they cannot progress, they cannot move forward, they cannot succeed in any endeavor they engage in. Therefore, we must now, as African people, our aim is not even to fight for racism, against racism. It's not even to fight against white supremacy. It's not even to fight against imperialism. No, that is waste of energy. We need to fight to regain the power. We need to rebuild ourselves as a global power, as a global power base, collectively as African people. That is the agenda, because you don't need to fight against racism. You just need to take yourself out of racism, to escape racism. Same like hunger. You don't have necessarily to fight against hunger. You have to escape hunger by building the means that will obviously provide for you the source of of food and of any other basic needs that you may need for you to sustain your life. So it is the same principle that we have within the African Continental Unity Party. We are not here to fight racism. We are not there to fight imperialism. We are not there to fight anything that is distraction, because every time that you want to fight racism, you have to march on street. You must protest. You must say Black Lives Matters. But the point is, To whom are you protesting to? You are protesting to the very same people who have structured a system of oppression and a system of domination. The same very people who have engineered the world system that puts you as a black person in the category of a subhuman, right? So that you can suffer domination and after that, domination followed by the oppression. So as the African Continental Unity Party, our effort, our dedication is not to fight whether imperialism or neocolonialism, or even though indirectly we will be fighting those things, but our aim primarily is to rebuild ourselves and become the global power base. That is why we have chosen that to become the vision of the ACUP. The global power base. Africa must become a global power base. And to do that, you don't have to fight racism or anything else. You have to build yourself. You have to go within yourself to question yourself, things that you are not doing, and begin to do those things so that you can gain the power that you have lost by depending on other people. In most cases, we don't have the power because we have put ourselves under, the dependency of other people, or we've put ourselves in the care of other people who in reality have never wanted to see Africa emerging and Africa flourishing. So they have been pretending to help us or to do for ourselves, or to do for us what we are meant to do for ourselves. So power is the core message of the African Continental Unity Party, because if we have the power today, we will be able to educate ourselves as African people. We will not gonna be spending money to send our kids to the worst in the Western countries to be educated. In reality, to be given what we call academic alienation certificates that we are very proud of. We have lots of them today in Africa, but we are unable to solve our own problems. Our leaders actually are still running to China, Russia. Every time there's China, Sino-Africa meeting, you see all of them are crowding there. Every time Russia calls, all of them are crowding there. While we have PhD degrees in Africa, we have all these, master's degrees in Africa that we have obtained from the very same Western institutions. So if we manage to regain our historic initiative to rebuild ourselves as the global power base, we'll be able to educate ourselves. And we are doing that right now within the ACUP. We'll be able to trade within ourselves. We'll be able to protect ourselves. We're not going to be able to sign some stupid deals as some African countries have signed with France for their protection. But the reality always seems to be different, because those very same countries in which French troops are present, they see the rise of rebellions. They see the rise of terrorist groups, and the people are not at peace in those countries. So the power will give us the ability to protect ourselves, to defend ourselves, to educate ourselves, to provide for ourselves for all the needs that we have, food, infrastructures, and all these things. Therefore, we believe that by becoming powerful, and especially the center of global power, we will be able to look after ourselves as African people. Now, the question is, how do we go about rebuilding ourselves to becoming the global power base? That is where it becomes interesting within the African Continental Unity Party. We have educational institution within the ACUP. We have economic institution within the ACUP. These two things are the backbone of every society. Education and economy can be considered also the backbone of every society. Once you have the control of your education, you are able to create the type of the people you need in your society, and therefore you are in charge of your own destiny. And the economy is the means through which we organize the production and the distribution of our resources. And as we're speaking right now, if you go in our villages, in our suburbs, in our towns, you see the people who control the economy are the people who most likely look different than you are. You know, they're the people who coming from Bangladesh, from India, from other places, and they're the ones who control the markets. So every time you need a bread, you must go and get bread to them, from them. Every time you need something, you go and buy from them. So the little money that comes in our society quickly goes back again to reach people who have traveled thousands of kilometers to come and enrich themselves in our communities. So everything is happening under our watch. So ACP is here to engage us economically, to engage us politically, and to engage us socially. It's in nutshell a revolutionary movement that aims to rebuild Africa as a global power base. And if we have the power, we'll be able to dictate our own future and our own destiny. But the key in getting the power is unity of African people. That is why our ideology is based on Pan-Africanism. We believe that unity is the current formula that is available, the only formula that is available to change the status quo of African people and African reality, globally speaking. Without unity, you can never succeed anything in Africa. Without African unity, without Pan-Africanism, we will never gonna succeed to change anything significantly in Africa. It is even interesting to see that today many African people are still fighting in the principle of individualism, which we have been fighting, in which we have been fighting for more than 60 years since the post colonial period, but we have never been able to achieve anything, to change anything in terms of all the difficulties and challenges that we are facing in our countries, right? So maybe it is time to try something different, that is continentally wide, and that is the ACUP. It is not a country-based political party, but is a continent-based political party with the aim to unite Africa, and through unity, then we are able to rebuild ourselves as a global power base. This is very important. Every time that you are fighting as a Ghanaian, every time you are fighting as Nigerian, every time you are fighting as a Congolese, as a Zimbabwean, as whatsoever, you are fighting within the guidelines that has been prescribed to you by your oppressor. And I sometimes actually mock these Africans who go into churches and pray for God to bless Nigeria, for God to bless Congo, for God to bless Ghana, because I tell them the God to whom you are praying for is the white man, because he's the one who created Nigeria. There is no God who created Nigeria. There's no God who created South Africa. There's no God who created Zimbabwe. If there's any one who created, something, he created. If there's any creator, of course, he is the creator of Africa, because he created Africa and African people. Now, it is the white man who created you as a Zimbabwean, as South African, and Zambian, as a Congolese, as whatsoever that you are proud of today. And every time you go to pray, then you are praying to the person who created you in 1884, 1885 at Berlin Conference. That is the God that you are praying to. And that God has never been able to listen to you for more than 60 years now, that you have been praying for him to bless Nigeria or Niger areas or whatever else that you are proud of. So it is now time as African people to question ourselves. What is the guidelines of our struggle? Is it based on fake nationality created, or nationalities created by our oppressors, or is based on true identity, which is our Africanness? So these are the important questions, and this question is actually answered by ACUP. That's why we don't have with national based or country based political party. We have a continent wide movement that transforms itself into political party in every country where it goes. And then together, when these political parties have been able to have been able to succeed to establish themselves, in the whole continent, will be able now to drive Africa in towards one direction, because we have one vision, we have one understanding, we have one ideology, and we have one mission. See, this is very important. So, but currently we are in competition. Zambia want to be better than Ghana. Ghana want to be better than Nigeria. Nigeria want to be better than Burkina Faso, or than Cote d'Ivoire. So these are the competition. This competition is created by our oppressors who want to still keep us under the domination by dividing us. We have to ask an important question of what is the reason, the true reason we are individually buying weapons, as African countries, because we don't have a history of permanent wars among ourselves. There's no history of permanent or protracted warfare between Zambia and Zimbabwe, or between Zambia and Congo or Tanzania. There's no history of protracted warfare between these countries. So what is the fundamental reason for us to keep on spending our little money or our little budget that we have to buy weapons that is being produced in the West, not even produced locally? You see, when you see Europe individually, they're arming themselves with all kind of weapons. It's logical, because European people have evolved in such conditions of atrocities where they were waging wars against themselves, and they were exterminating against themselves for lack of resources. So they have evolved in warfare, in extremely dangerous warfares, where they were killing themselves, not waging wars just to dominate one another or to win over one another, but to exterminate one another. And through this culture of warfare, they've been able to build or to acquire all kind of weapons. And it's logical from their point of view, but us as African people, the only danger that we are facing collectively, not individually, is imperialism. Whether that imperialism comes under Chinese flag, or comes under Indian flags, or comes under European Union flag, or comes under American flag, it is an imperialism that is affecting us collectively as African people. So there's no reason for us to to invest much or to invest heavily in individual weaponry that is not even sufficient to protect us, right? So we must, through this agenda of Pan-Africanism, through the African Continental Unity Party, we will create a continental army to defend not one country, but to defend the whole continent. The danger to one, a danger caused to one, is a danger caused to all of us. That is the philosophy of Ubuntu. So we are going to create a continental army that is going to protect and defend the whole continent. And we are going to create a study of nuclear weapon for the defense of Africa, for the defense of Africa as a whole, not for the defense of one single entity called country in Africa, because that's never going to happen. First of all, you don't have the budget to do that, and secondly, you cannot stand the sanctions that will be imposed onto you by the Western world. But as Africa, collectively as African people, we will be able to do that, if we are committed. But we are going to do that as African Continental Unity Party. Thank you very much. I hope I've been able to explain in depth what is the vision of ACUP. We have a lot of things to discuss, but this is basically the vision over which we have founded the African Continental Unity Party, which is to build Africa, or to rebuild Africa as a global power base. So if you are interested into becoming a member of African Continental Unity Party, please join us. In the description there's a link, the website link, email address where you can join us, or where you can obviously send us your message or any question that you have. We'll be able to assist you. Peace and power. And if you have 2 shoes, please sell one and buy a sword. If you have 2 trousers, please sell one and buy a sword, because now it is time for revolution, and this revolution is in the mind, not on the streets. Thank you very much. Until then.